Hello and welcome back to the channel, and in this video I am going to show you how to make some very simple rig winders for both your general sea fishing rigs and some float fishing rigs out of flip-flops. And we have a storage case there for all your smaller rig winders to go into. So let's see what we need to do this job, and let me show you how I build them. So to build these rig winders for both float rigs and for your sea fishing rigs, you're firstly going to need a chopping board or something, a cutting board to cut the rig winders on. You're going to need some flip-flops, £1.90, large, get the biggest size you can because you get more foam for your money. So I've got 2 pairs here. There we go, lovely. And then you're going to need some cutting tools. So I've just got a couple of Stanley knives, another blade, just to do a bit of cutting. And lastly, you're going to need a straight edge. So I've got a steel ruler, but anything with a straight edge will do. So the first thing to do, obviously, is to strip these flip-flops down just to the soles. This is very easy. Just need to pull these out. Very simple. Bit of pressure, brute force and ignorance. Pull these out like that. There we go. Let's do that. Like that with all of them. Once you've stripped the flip-flops down to the soles, which is this high density foam, you then want to basically try and cut these into triangles. So what they tend to do is have quite a long straight edge on the outer edge. There we go, on the outer edge of your flip-flop. So what I'm going to do with a knife is at this end here, I'm going to cut a straight edge there. I'm then going to cut a parallel straight edge to the top there. I'm going to cut one along the bottom here and cut these into a nice long rectangle that's equal in width and length. So once you've cut a nice long rectangle like this, I'm going to do a float rig winder first. So what I need to do is to cut a small recess here at the top, so that it's got 2 ears basically at the end of the foam to hold the rig within this section, and we'll do the same at the bottom. So basically all I'm going to do is leave about ½ centimetre there, and I'm going to cut down there. I'm going to cut straight along here with my straight edge and then back up here to form some little ears at either side. Let me show you what I mean now. So once you've cut these little ears, lugs, this recess for your rig to wind through. Now look, you can see I didn't use a sharp blade on that side, and it's quite rough. Whereas that side, sharp blade, nice and smooth. So the next thing to do, turn it onto the base. You've got this lovely little diamond pattern, which gives you a great template for cutting a recess, a hole, for your float to sit once it's on your rig. So these are the floats that I'm going to do on these rigs, and what I'm going to do is use the squares to cut a diamond template for that to slot into. So I can measure this up. I'm going to do it slightly bigger than the float, so this will then sit within that recess. So I'm going to measure that up now, cut the lines that I want, and pop that centre section out. So there, I've cut diamond shape in the middle. I've then cut a longer bit at the top and a small bit at the bottom, and this is allowing this float to sit in there nicely. I can then set up the line through this, hook the hook in the bottom, and what I need to do at the top is I'm going to do a notch down here with a Stanley knife blade, cut a notch in this side about 1 centimetre, like so. That will allow the end of the line, once the rig is finished, to clip in place. So there we have it. One little thing I'm going to do, I'll do it now and I will show you. After doing the little notch in the top to hold the line, done one more little cut, and that is a slot there. And now that is for my float to go in here once the line is on, and I'll show you in a minute. And then I've got an SL11, which has got a bulbous bit on the top. So it's a Starlight, but it's an SL11. And that is my holder for the Starlight there. We've got this. It's going to hold something too. But for now, let's get the float rig set up on the winder. And here we have it, the completed rig winder with the float in the centre of the rig winder. And as you can see there, it's perfectly centred. It's not sticking out either side, so it's not taking up all this room. All the line is wrapped round, and the end of the line is just tucked in there through the slot that we cut. And you can see an SL11 nightlight stored in this side. I can get 2 of them in there, and in this side I've got a spare barrel weight that goes onto that rig winder. So I've done this one for this float, which is a 10 gram float from Capellan Decathlon. Also done one here, same again, different style float, so I've cut a different shape, all gripped in nicely. This one is for a 5 gram float, so slightly lighter. I've got the SL11 night light in there again, and you can see it's all gripped in, very nice. So these can then sit in my bag, my box, my rucksack, wherever I'm going. And I've got 2 float setups nicely stored, ready for when I go wrasse fishing, or if I want to float fish some prawns or shrimp for bass. Anyway, these are done. Let me show you how to build the other style of rig winders too. So before I start building the general sea fishing rig winders, there's a measurement that I need to take from this. I can't just cut this into a rectangle of any size, because I have bought a very cheap storage box or container for the rig winders that I'm going to make, and that is a silicone pencil case. So this was £2.99, this silicone pencil case, and basically what I want to be able to do is get as many rig winders in here as I can. Now if I measure this and take it by half, I can then get 2 rows of rig winders on each side, so I can get 4 by 3. So I should be able to get 12 rig winders in here if I get the measurements right. So what I'm going to basically do is measure out a rectangle with the width of half of this silicone pencil case, and then I'm going to make sure every rig winder I cut is no wider than half the height. So let's cut this rectangle to half the width of this, which let's check at the moment is, well, that's 17.5. So we'll say 17. So we're going to do 8. We'll do 8 centimeters. That gives us a bit of space in here. So we're going to cut 8 centimeters deep rectangle, and as long as we can go here. So let's cut that into shape now and then come back. It's approximately 8 centimeters, and there's a little slight dip there because I've managed to get as long a piece out of the base of the flip-flop as possible. And then when I measure it up against the ruler, it's about 25 centimeters long. So what I'm going to try and do is get 2.5 centimeter wide winders. This pencil case is 6 centimeters deep, so 2.5 gives us 5, gives us a centimeter spare, so that's fine. So I'm going to start cutting these straight across here in 2.5 centimeter sections, and then see how many we get. So I managed to get 9 chunks out of the base of one flip-flop. I omitted the section with the 2 holes because I don't really want that, so that's gone. So I've got 9 sections. I've added another 3 sections from the leftover bits of sole from the flip-flop I used for the float rig winder. So now we've got 12. So these should, hopefully, let's try. We'll go 3 there. 3 there. 3 there. 3 more there. Look at that. They fit in that. Lovely. So, there we go. Got a start of a rig winder pouch with 12 rig winders in there. But there's still more to do. So let's get these out. Let's move on to the next step, which is cutting V-notches out of each end of all of these cubes of foam. And there we have it. We have all of these now, rig winders with the V-notches to wrap your rigs around, all cut. And what I've also done is on each one, as you can see there, Done a little cut on the top side, and I've done a cut on the bottom side there, so that you can grip the ends of your rig into that part there without using any pins or anything like that. So what we need to do now is get some rigs wound on these and get them in their case. So here are some of them wrapped on their rig winders, and as you can see, they won't come undone because the line is gripped in the little notch, can't come undone, and the hook is hooked in. So I've started doing some of these are pulleys. I've got there a 2-hook flapper, large one. So I'm going to do the rest, and then let's get them in there. And there we have it. Got 12 rig winders in here, all with rigs on them, and they very easily zip up in their silicone pouch like so. So you could easily have 6 of one rig on one side, 6 of the other. A couple of these in your bag. If you don't like having rig wallets, you'd rather them be on winders. This was the most expensive part, this pencil case, which was $2.99. The flip-flops themselves were, I think, £1.90 each. So you get 2 flip-flops with that, a left and a right. That allows you to build quite a lot of rig winders. So there we have it. You've got rig winders for your sea fishing rigs in here. And on these, you've got float fishing rigs on larger winders for ease of storage. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some ideas on things you can build, especially to help you with your storage of rigs. So please subscribe, and until next time, tight lines.